Hey movie fans, today we got something a little bit different on the Gradient Pixels channel, a movie review, and boy howdy did we pick a doozy to start on. All jokes aside, a couple friends and I went and saw Alita Battle Angel, directed by Robert Rodriguez, written by James Cameron, and starring Rosa Salazar and Christoph Waltz. Overall, the movie is okay. There's a lot of good moments in the film, but there's an equal number, if not more, things that it does kind of poor or bad. Start off with something that I did like, the performances, particularly Rosa and Christoph's. Both of them are really great in this film. They have a nice chemistry, and it is a really believable relationship. Rosa in particular, I haven't seen a whole lot of her other work, but she has a great charisma about her on the screen, and it definitely adds to the film overall. The CG is kind of hit or miss, depending on what you're looking for in the CG. If you're a person that thinks that CG should only be used like sparingly and to make things blend better and make them look more realistic, then the CG is probably pretty bad in this. But I think that the CG definitely is going for a style here, and it pretty much executes pretty well on that style. Nothing looks obtrusively bad or anything, so just some stuff looks weird. A couple of the characters just look kind of odd, stuff that you'd see in Power Rangers or something like that. While it's pretty technically impressive what they achieved, it just looks kind of weird in a live-action film. This film has had somewhat of a troubled history. I believe it was James Cameron and Guillermo del Toro at some point in the early 2000s that were trying to get it made. Cameron went to go work on Avatar, and then this just kind of sat there until Rodriguez got attached at some point. You can go look it up, but this film has been around for a while, and it's based off of a manga called Ganmu, I believe is how you pronounce it. I haven't seen the anime or read the manga, whatever the source material is for Alita. One character that I really didn't like in the movie is the boyfriend character. I don't even remember his name, but he is just unlikable, really. He is, for half the movie, he just exposits to the camera and to the audience, and it's really not hidden well. He just isn't very likable, and I don't know if that's on the performance end of it or if it's on how the character's written, but he definitely, for what Rosa and Christoph do so well, he kind of balances out with just eh. I liked a lot of the environments in this. The matte paintings were really cool, the cities, the lower city, and we didn't see a whole lot of the upper city, but it's like a tiered city system. And a lot of the backgrounds just look really cool. The action in the movie is pretty good for the most part. It never really got boring or dragged or looked weird, other than the CG blending mess that is always the case with CG fight scenes. For the most part, I was entertained by the action. One thing that I just kind of thought was a little silly, there's a lot of moments where characters will be thrown into something or will fall into something or will get like hit onto the ground. And I was cracking up like every time it happened. I don't know if they were always intended to be funny, but a lot of it just seemed really slapstick, and that really gets to me. Like if there's like characters that slip on like banana peels or something in a movie, I'll bust out laughing. There's one scene in particular that I really liked, which is in a bar fight. Alita basically opens up this one fight by grabbing a guy's head and smashing it through a table. And normally just smashing a head on a table would be pretty funny, but it just goes right through the table, and so I thought that was hilarious. And eventually the shot changes to this wide shot from like up above, where she throws this guy, and he smashes through a chair, rolls onto the ground, and then like smacks the side of his head off of a jukebox. And I just started busting out laughing. I thought that was hilarious. That was a great shot that really stuck with me. But yeah, the story in the movie, not great. Part of that is due to the fact that a lot of the interactions between characters are just kind of There's some really cringy dialogue, and just some of the moments that they try to share with each other to try to get like a little bit of drama or just like something started there just ends up blowing out like a balloon. It just wasn't great, and it really stinks because visually I think there's a lot to like in this movie, but just substance-wise they completely clash throughout the entire movie. Just like, oh, that looks really cool, and it's like, oh, I don't know about that. The writing overall in the movie is, like I have been alluding to, it's a little eh. There's some good moments, but for the most part, there's a lot of scenes where they'll just be doing heavy exposition and then some okay moments and some character clash moments, but then like a really cringy line will sneak in, or like a line that just is really performed weird, and it really makes it feel like, I don't know, this was just kind of chopped up and thrown together on the page. The pacing of the movie is pretty good for the most part. There's a couple of cuts that are really weird and jarring, especially a couple times when a question will be asked to a certain person and then they'll just cut to something else. And that's really weird. It's just like, okay, whenever you're watching it. So for the most part, scene to scene and beat to beat, it's okay, but there are a couple moments throughout the film where it just kind of jumps and you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're going over here now. One thing that this movie does that I really don't like in sci-fi movies is this weird techno babble that some of the characters will have. It pretty much goes along the lines of, oh, my rocket sprockets didn't get to the 8mm mark, but you know, if I had a jigawang wrench, I could have twisted it about 3 knots to the left and I would have been fine. It's just weird stuff that they talk to the characters and the audience like you're supposed to be in on it, but what they're saying is just complete nonsense. That's not really something to really knock the movie for, because a lot of movies do that, but it's just a weird gripe of mine that I don't really like. It always stands out and it always just feels weird to me. Overall, I would rate Alita Battle Angel in like the 6 to 7 range. There's a lot of good moments here, and it definitely was better than I was anticipating after like a trailer that I had seen, but it's definitely not a great movie. So yeah, I'd put it in like the 6 to 7. It's about average. Go see it with friends if you can. I think that's definitely the best way to go and see Alita Battle Angel. So that wraps up our first ever movie review on the channel. If you want, leave some comments down below if you went and saw Alita Battle Angel. I'd like to see what your thoughts on the movie were. We're probably going to be doing more movie reviews in the future. So with that, I'll see you in the next one.